that the story begins with a horrific video.
What is your name?
Francis.
This disturbing video appears to show an African recruit in the Russian army with a landmine strapped to his chest. He is being ordered to storm Ukrainian positions on the front lines. A Russian speaker hurls racist insults at the man, saying he is being used as a can opener to breach an enemy bunker.
Over the past year, a story emerged that shocked South Africa. A group of young men, mostly in their 20s and 30s, were recruited with promises of overseas employment. Some were told they would work in security, others that they would receive training or construction contracts in Russia. For many, the opportunity seemed too good to miss, a chance to earn money, gain experience, and support their families.
However, what awaited them was far from what they had been promised. Upon arriving in Russia, several men reported being pressured to sign military contracts. Documents were presented in languages they did not understand, and they were quickly placed in environments connected to active combat.
Communication with family members became scarce. Weeks would pass without messages or updates. For some families, the first hint of trouble came when men managed to make brief calls, explaining that they were no longer in civilian employment, but had been deployed to conflict zones near Ukraine.
The situation sparked alarm across South Africa. Officials confirmed that 17 citizens had contacted authorities from areas in eastern Ukraine, indicating that they had been misled about the nature of their work. Questions arose about who recruited these men, whether they understood what they were signing up for, and whether South African law had been violated. South Africa has strict regulations regarding citizens participating in foreign military activity without proper authorization. These regulations exist to protect citizens from exploitation and to maintain diplomatic neutrality. The revelation that South Africans were involved in active combat raised legal, ethical, and diplomatic concerns.
Families described a range of experiences, from fear and confusion to direct exposure to dangerous situations. Some men reported being used in frontline positions with little preparation. Others said they endured harsh treatment and challenging conditions. Tragically, at least 2 men later died while involved in the conflict, illustrating the true human cost of this ordeal.
The situation also sparked political debate. Allegations emerged that some individuals in South Africa may have played a role in recruitment efforts. Among those scrutinized was Duruzile Zuma Sambudla, a former member of parliament and daughter of a former president, though she denied any wrongdoing. The controversy heightened public concern over accountability and the protection of vulnerable citizens.
South African authorities began investigations into the recruitment networks, questioning whether any laws had been broken and whether citizens or recruiters were responsible for violations. The story became a warning about the risks of false promises and the potential for exploitation in international conflicts. By early 2026, progress was made. After diplomatic engagement with Russian authorities, the 17 South African men were released from their contracts. 15 returned home safely, while 2 remained temporarily in Russia, one receiving medical care and the other awaiting travel processing.
The return of these men brought relief for families, though many spoke of trauma and the lasting impact of the experience. The ordeal has left physical, emotional, and psychological scars. It also prompted renewed calls for awareness, guidance, and protection for citizens considering overseas employment.
The South African government emphasized that joining foreign armed forces without authorization is a legal risk. Returning individuals may be questioned under South African law, but authorities also acknowledged that many were likely deceived. The case illustrates the fine line between voluntary participation and exploitation.
This story is not unique to South Africa.
Across Africa, young men have been recruited under similar circumstances. In Ghana, dozens have died after being misled into participating in the war. In Kenya, recruitment networks promised high pay and security work, but delivered combat assignments. Economic vulnerability, misinformation, and the appeal of overseas opportunity have made this a widespread concern.
As of now, 15 men are back home. 2 more are expected soon, and investigations into recruitment networks continue. Families continue to heal, while the nation reflects on the lessons learned. The story of these men serves as a reminder of how easily people can be exploited by false promises, how far-reaching the consequences of war can be, and the importance of vigilance in an increasingly interconnected world. In the end, this is a story about opportunity, deception, and survival. It is about families waiting anxiously for word from loved ones in dangerous situations, and it is about a nation grappling with the reality that global conflict can touch its citizens in unexpected and deeply personal ways.